Let's see if she guesses it correctly. And I did guess it correctly because now on screen it's saying the meeting is being live streamed. So there you go. Good morning. Welcome. My name is Brenda Meller. This is our monthly office hours for coaches and consultants. I'm delighted to have you here today. What I'm going to start with today is just an overview of what was happening when you came in the room. And I think some of you know my background, but if you don't know my background, I come from a corporate marketing background. I worked in corporate marketing for over 20 years. So variety of different roles, agencies, organizations, nonprofits, for profits, was always on the kind of the creative side of things. But I learned as a marketer, you should always be marketing yourself. So this is like our very first tip I'm going to share with you here today. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to tell you what I did. So I created this as a looping document. I'm going to escape my loop so it doesn't play as I'm doing this, but I created this as a looping document on Google Drive. Now you could certainly do this in Canva, or you could do this in a PowerPoint and do a loop. I find that Google Drive tends to work the best because I don't know if you all have noticed when you're sharing your screen from PowerPoint, if you've got dual monitors, if you do a share screen, it goes up into the really big view, and then you can't do anything else on your main screen. And you have to toggle in and out of presenter mode. I don't find I have that same issue with Google Drive. So that's one reason I use Google Drive instead of PowerPoint when I do these loops. The second reason is I have my intern, Julia, helping me. And I think she's going to be joining us on the call today. I'm not sure if she's on yet. Yes, she is. Hey, Julia. So she helps me. So what happens is in between these monthly sessions, she will help me by going through and updating any of the slides. And sometimes I might have new programs, new offerings, upcoming webinars, things like that. And we will just put these in the background. And that way, if you come onto the call a few minutes early, you get served up with a couple of these reminders. It's almost like, when you go into a restaurant and you're waiting at the hostess stand to be sat, right? And as you're waiting, you look around and they've got the specials. Like right now, it's probably like pumpkin spice pancakes or something. And then over here, it's the order your Thanksgiving dinner now. So you're being served up with ads while you're waiting to be sat by the server. This is like my equivalent of that. So I just kind of go through and I think, well, this call today is for people who are coaches and consultants. What information do I want to serve up on a silver platter for them as they're waiting for the show to begin? And then I just go through and do that. And Julia helps me to update some things, including a link to our private unlisted LinkedIn group that I've created for all of you. By the way, if you're not yet a member of the group, I'm going to drop the link into the chat right now, and you can visit that group. It's private and unlisted. Private means you cannot find it in the group's directory unless you have the link. Unlisted means it won't appear on your profile. So really the activity that occurs inside the group is only for group members. And I'm like checking people in at the door, so to speak. So if you visit this page, you have to click to request to join. I will do a quick once over, make sure that I know your name, you've registered for my calls before admitting you into the group. Because I want to keep it, you ever get into a junkie group? I'm not even going to describe what that means. Because if you're in a junkie group, you know what I mean? Like the people that are like spamming you all the time, or they're pitching you and you're like, well, I wish I didn't join that group. I'm going to keep my groups clean all the time and I'm going to monitor them. I will periodically go into the group and post things as well. And I encourage you, if you'd like to post things in the group, resources that might be helpful for coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors. I'm fine if you want to promote your upcoming events in here as well, or if you have new products and new offerings you want to tell us about, feel free to do so. If I ever feel like you've crossed the line and you're just selling all the time, I'll nudge you and I'll be like, hey, Brian, it might be a good idea for you to engage with others in the group and not just post your stuff all the time. I'm picking on Brian. I know he wouldn't do that, but I'm just using him as an example. And then additionally, I will have, if there are any group posts, Julia will grab them from the group and she'll put those in the loop as well. So, hey, if you are in the group and you're sharing information, we'll also put it on here, which now makes it public. Keeping in mind, this goes out on YouTube as a live stream and it sits there so people can find it later. And then I also am publishing these shows on my podcast now, and I'll be directing people to the show notes where they can get the links and look at that great information that's being shared. So this is a little bit of an introduction to what I do at the start of my VIP office hours. First is I create this looping slideshow thing, and I really do like Google, what do they call these? Google Slides. It's a little bit easier to do the slideshow formatting, and then once I put it up into slideshow mode, What I do is, let me think about this. I think I go, what is it called? View. I think it's under View Slideshow. And then as soon as you pull it up into slideshow mode, you have to hover over. In your lower left-hand corner, you'll get a thing that has like the number of pages and 3 dots. I click on the 3 dots. I click on autoplay. I put it on a loop, which means it just runs continuously. And then I rotate it so that it plays every 10 seconds. So I click on loop every 10 seconds, and then I click on play, and then it just starts running in the background. And I've tried different durations. 2 seconds feels like it's too short. 5 seconds sometimes feels like it's a little bit too short, depending on how much information is on screen. 10 seconds feels like it's good enough to me. So I try that. So that's the slideshow that's running in the background. And then the other thing Brian said was, tell us about the music. So I'm going to drop into the chat right now. These are the exact words that I put. I go onto YouTube and I type in these words: instrumental music, royalty free. And then the last word might vary based on my mood of the day or what the meeting is about. But today I put instrumental music, royalty free, upbeat. Let me break that down for you. Why do I play that in the background? And let me play this music while I'm describing this so you can hear this. So it's a little bit of ambiance. You ever walk into a party and you're like, you're not sure if the party began yet or not because you can't hear any music. You don't see any people. The host is still putting out the bags of chips and the Jello shots or punch bowl or whatever, depending on the type of party. It's supposed to, if you walk into the party and the music's playing and people are mingling and the host is like, hey, grab a beverage, have a great time. So this is like my equivalent when you come into my calls. I want you to know, yep, you're in the right place. The party's going to start here shortly. You've got something in the background that's playing to entertain you while you're waiting for the show to get started. You've got some music, which is helping to set the mood, the sentiment a little bit. I've even heard of some people that will do, if you walk into certain stores in the mall, they have scents. Like the candle shops, they're burning candles in the beginning when you walk into the store. Or if you ever go on an open house tour, if you're house shopping, they will bake cookies before the open house starts. And that's to create that same feeling of ambiance, right? That's inside there. So yeah, these instructions are included in here. Julia's on the call with us. So I'm going to ask her to, Julia's like that, you guys. I don't even have to tell her what to do. And she does the thing. So Julia went inside of chat. She dropped the link for the playback for today's call on YouTube. And she also put the full playlist. I would say favorite that, mark it, follow, subscribe, whatever they tell you to do on YouTube. And then once we publish the podcast later, we'll link back to the YouTube. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give all of you the opportunity to introduce yourself for starters, and then we'll do some questions. Does that sound okay? I make the rules, so that has to be okay. Me today. So if you would like to introduce yourself, what I'd like you to do is to use the Zoom raise hand feature. You should see it under reactions. If you do, just click on the raise hand. It'll pull your hand up just like the little hand that's right over here for me. Brian's got it. Pam's got it. Okay. That will let me know that you want to introduce yourself. And I would say let's keep these to 30 seconds to a minute. Does that sound good? So tell us a bit about your business. What do you do? Who do you help? And I want to introduce yourself in a way that there might be a prospective client on the call for you. So I want you to think about, what do they need to know about you? What are you working on right now? How can you help them? And then I will also ask you to use the chat to drop any links. That might be your LinkedIn URL. I would definitely put that in there. I'm a LinkedIn gal, right? It might be your website. It might be if you've got any free resources or checklists or upcoming events. Use chat for whatever you want, I will say. Okay. All right, Brian, you're going to go first, and on deck will be Pam. Hey, Brian, how you doing today?
Great. We've
There you go.
reached the gluttony stage of the holidays. We've passed the candy test, and now it's turkey, stuffing, yams, and even more candy. And if you would like to stop, regain, or keep the weight off, I help people do that. I myself am an expert in that because I've kept 187 pounds off for the last 7 years. And you can even have fun eating during the holidays because most of the weight gain is up here. So I help you with the emotional side and show you how there's lots and lots of choices for food. So look me up on LinkedIn, and we'll have fun keeping the weight off and have fun during the holidays.
Awesome. That's a great intro. Thank you so much, Brian. All right, next up is Pam, and then on deck, let me see, on deck will be Elaine. Oh, Pam, you are muted. I need my
And
sign that says please unmute. There you go. Now we can hear you.
Usually I talk too late. I rearranged my office a little bit and my lighting's not perfect, but it will get there. I have to work on it. I'm Pam Lippett from the Hill Street Group, and I work with you, my clients, on empowering your voice, making you more comfortable in any space. So that could be in a networking event, in a meeting as a participant or a leader, or just connecting online with people through different emails and experiences to make sure that you are seen and you are comfortable. And again, I'm Pam at the Hill Street Group. I'm very excited to be being interviewed to do I guess that's stage 2, to be on the stage at a conference in the winter. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, I'm super excited about your post notes in the background. I know you're working on
I know.
right now too. Yeah. Great to see you here, Pam. Thank you so much. All right, Elaine, you are up next, and on deck is Sue.
Hi, Brenda. It's so great to be here, and it's great to see Annette. Hi, Annette. So you know how everyone tells you need to be more visible, you need to be making engaging videos and speaking to grow your business, but it can be overwhelming. So I help you with that. My name's Elaine, and my company is Captivate the Crowd, and I help people make engaging videos that show your authority, humanity, and a little humor. And I'm also a comedian and a keynote speaker, and I'm really excited to be here.
Elaine, I think we were just introduced this week, and I'm blanking who it was that introduced us.
Annette.
Do you recall?
Annette
and Annette's on the call too. Excellent. Well, great to see you, Elaine. Sue will be up next, and on deck will be Annette.
Hi, I'm Sue Griffey. I'm known as Sue Mentors in the virtual world. And you may have seen just a minute ago, I gave pom-poms. I help us celebrate all our wins. And thanks to those who've given me various cheerleader nicknames. I love them. I work with a global mentoring practice around the world with professionals in transition. One opportunity that has come to me more recently that I'm happy to expand my services on, and won't surprise Brenda, who I'm sure does this all the time, but I work oftentimes with US government agencies, people that are working at CDC, for example. And they're restricted on what they can actually publish. So I was asked to work with a mentorship group in Louisiana at the Office of Public Health in their Department of Health on how to use LinkedIn for visibility with things that you don't need clearance on. And the webinar and the training was incredibly successful from the comments I got, thanks to people, all of my contacts on LinkedIn who let me share examples of how you can use things on the company's website, but also be very careful about what you can say about your work. So I just wanted to share that. It was great insight, something I know people ask me about when I mentor them, but this was an opportunity to do it in New Orleans. That's why I have pom-poms this color. New Orleans is close to home for me because I went to Tulane for many more years than I expected to. Thank you.
All right, great to see you, Sue. Love your enthusiasm. All right, up next is Annette, and on deck will be Sarah. Oh, you are muted. I get to hold up my little please unmute sign.
Yes, sorry. As you know, I have loud dogs, so I'm constantly on mute. And so I would say that I help coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs cure content creation paralysis. And I do that by coaching them on video, helping them with ideas. I've been saying that I teach, help, or can do it for you. So I am excited to say that my newest venture coming out, I am soft launching now, but hard launching in January 2024, a new LinkedIn live show and podcast content marketing school. And, you know, it's going to focus on all different areas of content marketing. Brenda is my very first guest in January on the LinkedIn Live. And Elaine is actually, I just met her yesterday, and she is going to be on my show later in January. I have a lot of really cool guests lined up already. I am so excited for this. And I know when I talk about it that it shows. So that's always a bonus. And thank you very much.
Great. So it's nice to have you here, Annette, and I'm super excited to be your guest. Sarah, you are up next, and on deck is Mark.
Hi, I'm Sarah Harfield. I run a magic and comedy club in Michigan. I am on stage every week, whether performing for corporates or in private parties. Consequently, I do a lot of presentation speaking on how to present, how to stand in front of groups, how not to get tongue-tied, how to write your material. So please come along to the Magic Soiree. You'll, if you're in Michigan, that is, we're the only comedy magic club around. And otherwise, I'll see you on the road somewhere, as we're always traveling at different theatres. But also, I'm here to help you present and perform like a professional. Thanks, Brenda.
Great to have you, Sarah. Nice to see you. I saw Sarah 2 days in a row. I got to see her at Inforum Troy yesterday, and I got to see you again today. So it's always a delight to see you, Sarah. Thank you. All right, Mark, you are up next, and on deck is Nancy. And before you begin, Mark, I'll just remind everyone that if you're joining the call late, we're doing introductions right now. If you would like to introduce yourself, then please use the raise hand feature inside Zoom, and I'll call on you. And go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Brenda. I'm Mark Caldwell, Principal Consultant with Audubon Academy. And Brenda, did you know that only 32% of employees in the U.S. are engaged in their work? And the number one deciding factor is their manager. I lead team workshops focused on the working genius, and I coach leaders to develop their skills to bring out the best in their employees so that they can reach their full potential and enjoy their work, love doing their work more. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mark. All right. I'm slacking here. I was doing the next person up on deck, and I missed out on Nancy. So Nancy, you are up next, and then on deck will be Linda.
Great. Hi, I'm Nancy Maurer. I am right now living and being able to walk the talk of the work I've done for a number of years. I am in a stage of life transition. My reputation primarily in Southeast Michigan has been one of leadership development and organizational development, primarily in healthcare, nonprofit, and community organizations. Following a series of repeated losses over the last 14 months, I took a step back, realized that I was burning out on leadership development, and I had had the loss of my mother and a number of things. So I'm in a state of transition and reevaluation, and I am living into what's next. And that's what I really want to help people do going forward. I want to focus on small groups and team coaching. And so TBD, keep watching, stay tuned. It's evolving.
Well, we're glad to see you, Nancy, and I'm sorry for the loss of your mom. I want to just reflect upon that. I heard you say that, and I'm delighted to see you, and I'm glad that you're joining us on the call here today. All right, Linda, you are up next, followed by Kelly. You'll be on deck.
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker. I'm an ex-recruiter, an ex-hiring manager, and an ex-HR manager. I've been in a lot of different HR-related shoes throughout my career. And what I'm doing now is I'm actually doing it as a dedicated job search coach. I did it for the last 6 years working for someone else. And I am now a budding solo entrepreneur working on this, trying to build my business. In fact, I can use all the help that I can get. I know how to do this work. I love doing this work. Well, what I'm bad at is selling myself. So here's who I work with. I work primarily with people who are in transition. And whether that transition is coming back to work after a period of time off, or whether they're trying to come back and make a career change, or they've been in their job for a while and they want to go somewhere else. They think they're ready for their next step. Those are my sweet spots. The people who really want to make that next step in their career, as opposed to those who are just starting out. As I said, I'm here to learn from everybody and getting a lot of information so far. By the way, just a quick help request is that I'm trying to do a new banner. I'm trying to brand. And I put a post out there this morning with a couple of ideas. I would really appreciate some ideas and some feedback from you. Did it very quickly, so I'm just trying to figure out whether I'm headed in the right direction. Thanks, everybody.
let's keep going on that when we go into Q&A here today, Linda, if you don't mind, because I think that'd be a great thing to talk about. So thank you for that.
Thank
All
you.
right. So Kelly, you are up next. And Kelly will be the final person, unless if there's anyone else that would like to introduce yourself and you joined late, please use the raise hand function inside of Zoom. Kelly, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hi, my name's Kelly, and I am a nurse, and I'm a little sick. Sorry about my voice here, but I'm a nurse in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and a lactation consultant. I'm like way different than everybody else on this panel here, but stepping into the corporate lactation world, I'm like in the end part of my career here, helping moms. I've been doing this for about 30 years. And I want to focus on the moms who are having trouble going back to work and keeping pumping and HR stuff, all of that. So it's interesting that there are a few HR people on the call today, but I'm joining this kind of for ideas about LinkedIn and doing like business to business stuff. I've always been like me to my patients, but this is a different mindset, going business to business to help moms out with this issue. So thanks for having me.
I think you're doing fabulous work. I'm going to see if I can find it. I once did a YouTube video for when I was with a corporate organization that had a mom's room for pumping. And this was after my kids were grown, but I stood in front of the room and I talked about the importance of it and supporting moms in the workplace. I'm hoping they didn't delete it, but I'm hoping I can find it and download it. And I think it's so important, the work that you're doing. And I have some ideas for you. So we'll maybe do that into some Q&A here today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I saw Becky raising her hand. I'm like, oh, Becky's here on the call today. So Becky, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. And I always have a meeting every other Friday, so I feel bad, but I still want to try to get here when I can for part of the meeting. I do one thing, and that is work with businesses that are looking to increase their revenue. So that's kind of it. I've done that my entire career, and it's a multi-step process, of course, just like everything else. And it starts with really finding out what's going on, what are you doing, what's working, then figure out what do we need to put together, how do we get there, and then executing on the plan. So a couple things that I've probably never mentioned in this group. I have a free group that's on Facebook, and everything I do is B2B. So I've got a free group on Facebook, and so I let some B2C types come in as well, and I just tell them, hey, if it doesn't make sense, it's because I'm B2B. And it's a free group that I provide content every Monday morning on an idea that you can use to grow your business. Next week, we're talking about target marketing. And the last 2 weeks, we were talking about what to do to get your customers to love you. And I have a paid membership group where we go step by step through crafting your marketing plan, which is sort of almost a hybrid, because most companies I've ever worked with don't have a strategic plan. They don't have anything. So we do vision, mission, values. I've decided I'm doing it the way I want to do it. We're going to cover the basics as well as all the things that they need to have from a marketing standpoint. So that I haven't restarted because I frankly haven't had time. So that's kind of, because I've worked with small businesses and I like small businesses and they're fun, I've decided the way I can work with them, and some of you probably have figured that out too, is in a group. Just like our genius Brenda is doing with us, is we can do some things when we're in a group. So that's the small businesses, and that's under 5 million. And then the bigger companies that are 10 to 25 million will bring me in as their part-time VP of marketing, where they don't want to spend $200 to $400K to get somebody full-time, which might be overkill for the size of their business. And then I work with them to make sure everything gets done that they need to have done, and that they get focused and a plan in place. And the recent thing that I'm doing is, because I've been using artificial intelligence for the last year, and people keep saying, oh, why aren't you teaching people that? Why aren't you helping with that? And I'm like, well, because that's tactical. I do strategy. I help, let's get the foundations laid. Anyway, I'm doing research right now, and I'm probably going to offer that as a service, because really that is another tool to help businesses get to growing their business and become more profitable. So I figure it still sort of fits in the big thing, but I'm looking at doing it. And I just came up with the other day, because I want to focus on C-suite type people. So I just, at another meeting, thought, well, we'll call it the executive briefing. Then it sounds like all the CEOs will come and be with their chums. So anyway, working on that, doing the research for that. But in essence, everything is how to grow your revenue.
Great to see you, Becky. Well, thank you for the intro. And I was in the background as we were wrapping up our introductions, I was looking for that video because Kelly, I wanted to see if I find it. And this is the brilliant thing I did was I put it on my LinkedIn profile. It was when I used to work for a business college and they had a mother's room. Unfortunately, they deleted the video off of the channel, which it's not all that uncommon. After you leave an organization, they kind of do a cleansing of mentions, which is really fortunate because the video was just me standing in front of the mother's room talking about how important it was that we have it. And the good thing is it's still on my profile. So I have some stats that say, you know, women make up 47% of the labor force. 56% of new mothers are employed outside the home. There was such good value in the video. At any rate, you know, just a reminder, if you have resources, which include mentions of you and yourself on your former corporate employer's website, blog, YouTube channel, things like that, as soon as you leave the company, grab them because at some point they'll probably delete them off, which is nice. Right. I want to just open up the floor here now, and we're going to move into our Q&A. And if you're joining us for the very first time, I call these VIP office hours. Today is really focused on individuals who are coaches and consultants. Some of you also might be speakers and authors, and some of you might still be working a full-time job, thinking about making the pivot going into working for yourself, or you might be moonlighting. You know, we used to call it moonlighting. Now they call it the side hustle. So you might be debating on the side hustle, or you might be, I don't know what the term is. I'm going to call it sitting on the fence or fence sitters, because you might be thinking about finding a full-time job. And you're also looking at the other side of the fence, which is working for yourself. I don't know if there's a term for that or not. If there is, drop it inside chat. But I think it's like the fence sitters. I'm not sure which side of the fence I want to go on yet. The grass is green on both sides, as far as I know. But you got to figure out for yourself where that's at. At any rate, we will always start with some introductions like we've done. Sometimes I'll change paths, and like we did today, I started with an introduction talking about the looping video I had playing in the background, the music, and I walked you through some of the anatomy of that. And I reminded all of you that this is going to be on the podcast. It's going to be on the YouTube channel, so you can watch it again later. Julia has dropped the link inside chat, which you can download. But now what I'd like to do is move into Q&A. So if we all work together at an organization, Friday mornings, the second Friday of the month, I'd be sitting at my office desk with my coffee. I just refueled before the call. And I'd be sitting there with my coffee, and G walks by and she'd knock on the door and say, "Hey, Brenda, you got a minute? I got a question about something." And I'd be like, and maybe Nancy's sitting with me and Linda's there and Pam just got her tea because she doesn't like coffee, whatever. I don't know what you drink, Pam, but we're all sitting around and we're chitty chatting, and G's got a question and she comes in. So we're going to now open this up to questions, and this will be a group discussion. Remember back in corporate, they had tables that were like rectangular, and there was like the CEO and the board chair would sit at the either end of the table. And then sometimes the rooms would have round tables, and we'd have a round table. This is more going to be like a round table discussion. I'll be serving as our facilitator for the discussion today to make sure things are moving and nobody's dominating the conversation. But also, I want this to be us sharing ideas and thoughts with each other. Okay, so there was two people in when we did our introductions in chat who I said, let's talk about that in our questions portion. And I'm blanking on who those were. So if you could use the raise hand, that would really help me out. And then if anyone else has a question, also please use the raise hand, and we'll do that. So Linda, we were talking to you. Oh, now I remember the banners. You were talking about your banners. Is that right? So why don't we start with you, Linda? So tell us about what the question is or what it is that you're working on, and then let's figure out how we can help you.
So I'm going from working for somebody else to working for me and trying to rebrand myself, brand myself, taking myself out of that mindset. So part of it is trying to figure out what kind of a banner I can put up there that really talks about what it is I do. There's so many different styles out there, so many different ways of putting it out there. And I just played with something on Canva to see whether I could come up with something, because I really don't like what I have now. It's very bland, and I don't think it really speaks to what I do and what I want people to do.
Okay. You know, I'm going to share it on screen right now.
No, I'm glad you are.
Yeah. Okay. So you're changing gears from working as a corporate employee to working for yourself. And you've now got this new banner on your LinkedIn profile. And we're referring to that rectangular image that sits behind her headshot. I heard somebody recently refer to it as a headboard. And I'm like, if you're in the bed, you're laying on your pillow and it's a headboard right behind you. So tell us about what you have here right now. You've got that bluish purplish color and the white font. Is that part of your brand colors?
It's really not. I don't necessarily have a brand color. I'm still trying to put that together.
Okay. All right. So let's start with, and is there anybody on the call with some branding background and some branding expertise? I think Becky, if I'm not mistaken, you might have some expertise in branding and marketing. Is that fair to say?
Well, I'm primarily on the strategy side.
Strategy. Okay. All right.
But
Anybody
of
else
course,
on the
I
call?
always have opinions.
Okay. I mean, do you have anything you'd like to share with Linda or thoughts to start her off?
Well, the thought, because I probably have to redo mine.
Yeah.
I would say if there's anything that you can put that shows credibility, like I was on the front of Wall Street Journal years ago and been on CBS and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I need to put that on there. And so I would just say, if you've spoken or been involved in something too, that kind of says you're a little bit different or you're a little bit, a credential or something that might be, Brenda, you'd probably have better input on that. But other people that I've talked to have said, put that kind of stuff
on the banner, Becky, excuse me,
Yeah.
or okay.
Yeah. And like you've got your sort of like tagline, and then maybe Brenda would have better input, but maybe a couple bullets and rule of three, keeping in mind the rule of three of three things. That's just, it's not really my gig.
So I said, Pam, raise her hand too. And Pam was going to be the next person. I'm like, Pam does a lot with presentation design and communications. Pam, did you have any thoughts for Linda or questions for her?
Oh, I unmuted this time. Look at that. I would say the first thing is, Linda, hi, don't stress. That's the first thing. So I would suggest that you pick a date that you want to have this done by. So let's say that date is January 2nd. Okay, that gives you a few weeks to not be insane. And that's a really good thing, because I think we get caught in, it has to be perfect today. You are making a transition and you need to give yourself the time to get your colors, your font, your image of yourself up there. So I would add something to this, like new things are coming, watch for 2024. Okay. I would set the stage for people. So that also gives you the ability for this not to be your perfect forever. And as Brenda will tell you, this changes. This is your billboard, and this changes every quarter or every time you're going to be speaking or every whatever. So don't get too crazed about it. And that's really, the best thing I can tell you. I like what's up there, but I think I would totally lean into new things are coming. Because this doesn't tell me you're on your own and you're doing this.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. All right, great. So Linda, do you have a website for your business?
Not yet. That's still in the process.
Okay. So you are at a really great point in time because it's a transition phase. I'm going to give you another idea too. How about posting about it and talking about it on LinkedIn? Talking about the fact that you're in the process of really doing a full launch of your new business, and here's what you'll be doing in the business, and you're in the process right now of, are you building a website or getting that built up in the background? Okay. Yes. So tell people kind of where you are. I'm in the process of getting my website ready. My launch date is targeted to be December 15th. I just made it up, but sometimes you have to say it to the universe, because then you commit to it yourself. When you're self-employed, you don't have a boss saying, Linda, you said December 15th, it's December 14th. Where are we at? Like nobody's going to be asking you that. You're accountable to yourself. So sometimes you got to put it out to the universe and say, it will be launched by like telling people when it will be coming. And then say, in the meantime, I'm also been trying some different things on my LinkedIn header. And what you could say, instead of saying, give me ideas on what to do, you could say, tag someone in comments who has a really great LinkedIn header. Bonus points if they work with job seekers, so that way you're getting people thinking about, who do I know who are the fellow job strategists that are out there? And if you're not already connected to them, then you have some networking opportunities to connect with them. Someone in chat a little while ago here on Zoom said, hey, is it okay if I share my link for this? And I think they asked the question because there might be a little bit of overlap with what I do, but I have an abundance mentality. There is more than enough work to go around for all of us. There are more than enough clients on LinkedIn that we can support. There will be somebody who follows me and doesn't vibe with me. That's a term I learned from my preteen daughter. I just don't vibe with her, Mom. Like, I just don't vibe with her. And I'm like, why don't you hang out with her? Well, just vibe with her. And she'll hang out with other people. And I'm like, I don't think you should vibe with her either. She's kind of not nice to you. But at any rate, like, sometimes we as grownups don't vibe with people too. We might follow them, but we just, for whatever reason, just choose not to do business with them. But maybe they vibe with somebody else better. So the abundance mentality is there's more than enough work to go around for all of us. Supporting with and connecting with your competition. I like to use the term co-opetition, which I first heard from Terry Bean, who heard it from some book. I don't know what it was, but I believe, like, anytime I come across a fellow LinkedIn trainer or coach, I will connect with them. If I see them posting on LinkedIn, I will comment on their posts. They will in turn do the same. They will comment back on me. They will invite me to connect. Now, if they invite me to connect without a personalized invitation, I'm always skeptical. I'm like, are you really a LinkedIn trainer? Because why are you sending an invitation without a note into it? At any rate, I think, Linda, if you were to try that technique of just putting it out to your network and saying, I'm on the journey to do this, here's a couple milestones, and I'm thinking what to do with my header, tag in people you know that have a really great header, bonus points if they work with job seekers. What do you think about that?
I love that. I actually put a post out this morning with several different new picture options and asked people to comment and see whether they liked any of them. So that's a step, and I think I'll do the next one next week.
Great idea. Sarah, did I see that you had your hand raised? I think I saw it up and then it went down.
I was just going to talk into competition, because I think competition's important to keep us on our toes. Certainly from the point of view of an entertainer like myself, a comic, magician, we're out looking at shows. We're not grabbing other people's materials. That's a big no-no. We know that. But we do know that we need to know what's going on out there. So I will go and support, again, if you're local in Michigan, Mark Ridley's Comedy Club. There are competition. You go to comedy or you go to magic and comedy. We go to one night stands. We perform at all of these. They perform with us as well, but they keep us on our toes. And I think competition's important. So Linda, go see what your competition's doing. Don't steal their stuff, but check them out. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry.
Yeah. And related to that, a little bit of a side conversation. What if somebody does steal your stuff? Have you ever seen this? I noticed this before. It was like somebody verbatim copied my LinkedIn about statement, and in the place of the word LinkedIn coach, they said graphic designer, or they swapped out, but it was like everything else was like literally me. It was so it's not even like my about statement is a template. It's like they literally copied and pasted and then just changed their words out. That irks me, but I always like to think about energy moves in one direction. I can either focus on things that are helping to support and grow my business, or I can let the negative energy pull me back to take me away from the things that are productive for me. But I also don't want to be taken advantage of. So in this case, I reached out to the person and I said, hey, your about statement looks very familiar. It looks very close to mine. Are you aware of that? And this person was from a different country, and she said, yes, I loved it so much that, I'm using it as my own. And I said, well, it could be off-putting to people who are seeing that you're basically plagiarizing, me. And she's like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. And I don't think she meant it, in a negative way, but after I called her out on it, and I did so in a polite, professional way, she changed her about statement on there. Now, there are some people that are just blatantly copying you. And if that's the case, I would say there might be a different approach. There might be some copyright infringement. You might want to get a lawyer involved, those types of things. But at any rate, I just wanted to briefly touch on that, I love what you said, Sarah. Don't copy. Like, copying from your competitors is not a strategy, because you know what? You're going to copy from them, and then they're going to change, and then you're going to have to figure out what to do next based on them, not based on you and what you're doing with your business and what makes you unique, which is different. So you're commoditizing yourself by copying your competitors all the time in that. All right. So we're going to keep this conversation flowing. There was two people when we did introductions. I said, let's talk about this into questions. Who was the second person? We started with Linda talking about headers. I can't remember who it was. Was it Sue? Was it Nancy? Was it Kelly? No.
It was about it was Kelly about your podcast.
Yeah, reaching into corporate audiences, Kelly. So
Oh.
Kelly, you mentioned, thank you, Sarah. This is why we have many adults on the call, because my memory as I get older is not so good with the short term. The long term, I can remember details from first grade like you wouldn't know it. But 5 minutes ago, I have no idea what we were talking about. Kelly, so you said you're starting to branch out and grow your LinkedIn presence and reaching out into the corporate audience. Can you tell us a bit about what you're doing right now and where are you hitting some hurdles or roadblocks with your process?
Yes, I am reaching out to, it's funny because I'm reaching out to former clients of mine. So I probably worked with at least 25,000 people in Grand Rapids, and I can't not see my clients. And so the first two people that I reached out to for HR, they're like, oh, you helped me 17 years ago. Of course I'll help you. So West Michigan's kind of big city, small city, but like people I'm finding really lovely about them is they like to do warm handoffs for you. And which is awesome because I'm not, I'm a nurse and I'm not into cold calling at all. That's just not like something that I've done before. I'm stretching myself, trying to do more of that, but the warm handoff is so much better. So it's just like different. I have been finding success just with relationships that I have, and then they build and oh, you should talk to this person. You should talk to this person. And I don't know if you guys know Pine Rest, but I've gotten a deal with them. It's one of the biggest EAP, which is employer assistance programs in Michigan. Just signing with them. And so like different, because they've told me don't go to the corporate head person, like the president of the company, go to the benefits brokers and the HR people and the EAP people, because they will want to put some of my resources in for their clients, because this generation of people, like this generation of people in the childbearing years, they're breastfeeding, they want to breastfeed. They're not having that as an option, and they want more benefits, and they really care about the work-life balance sort of thing. And so it's been a good blend because the company wants to retain really good people, and then this is exactly what the new mothers and the families actually want. So it's just been a really organic conversation with people. So that's really working well with me. Okay, so then this is just me that I made this a long time ago, and then like I've never done anything with it except for like starting another month or so, like in the last month. But I also started a separate page based on your recommendation in your book about a page for work pump balance.
Okay. Now, is that your business page, Baby Beloved?
Baby Beloved is I have no idea why this header is like this color.
Well, you'll need to go in as a page admin and then change the page header. This is like the default for the page header on your page until you change it. And there's, as the admin of the page, you'll be able to change some information inside here. There's an about section here, which is not as exhaustive as your personal profile, but you can add some information about your business, website, links, that kind of stuff inside here. But I always look at the company page as an extension of you. And people can follow your page. You see right now you have 18 people that are following your page. You can invite people to follow your page. Similar to like a Facebook business page, you can post on this page. So right now you've got, if I do sort by top to recent, it looks like you reshared. Oh, work pump balance. Is that another page?
That's a page that I made specifically for the corporate lactation, because I have two people. I have my moms and then I have the corporate people, the HR people. So I made this work pump balance just for them. And so I'm trying to toggle between the two pages, because I have two different avatars of customers here. And it took me a long time yesterday to figure out how to share my work pump balance video that you're watching right now onto my Baby Beloved page. So
can you help to clarify what's the difference between work pump balance and the Baby Beloved page?
So Work Pump Balance is a side arm of Baby Beloved. So my company is Baby Beloved, and that's where I help my moms. Like, I'm a lactation consultant. And so I do classes, I do meet with moms individually. But then the Work Pump Balance is a specific branch just to do corporate lactation programs. Like, so I would go into like Steelcase, for instance, some big company. I would look at their policies, look at make sure that they're compliant with new federal laws, help set up their pumping room, their policies, and then also coach the moms for as long as they want to pump. I would like do like monthly Zooms with them, like checking in with them. How you doing? How's your milk supply going? Are you traveling? Do you need help with knowing how to travel while you're pumping with this milk? All those little things.
Yeah.
So that's why I made them separate.
Okay, so I have a couple ideas on here for you. The first is, in your experience section, I see Baby Beloved, but I don't see Work Pump Balance. So I would add that in as a new job experience. And when you add it in, let me just give you a little bonus tip here. And I'm going to log in as myself as I demonstrate this, because I can't show it from your profile.
Okay.
I'm not going to click on publish, but I'm going to show you the same steps that you would do. So I'm scrolling down to my experience section to start. I'm going to click on plus as if I'm adding a new job. So I'm going to click on add position. And I'm just going to type in workplace lactation consultant. And it might be something different, but that's kind of what I'm thinking off the top of my head. In the top of this ad experience, we're going to make sure that it says toggle to on to notify network. Okay. Now, there's some fields that are required in here, Kelly. Title is required. Employment type is not required. I tend to skip that. You can certainly fill it out if you want. You can say full-time or whatever. Company name, this is where we want to link to the name of the page. And I think you've got periods.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's right.
Okay, so as soon as I see it, I'm going to grab the company name so the logo sits next to it. Location is optional. Location type is optional. Start date. Now, today, as I am saying this, it is November 10th of 2023. So I'm going to choose November as the start month and the start year. Even if I've actually been running this business for 5 years, I'm still going to do the start date as November of 2023. This is really important because once I get done and I click on save, it will push out a notification that will go out to all of my LinkedIn connections and followers saying, congratulate Kelly on a new position as workplace lactation consultant at Work Pump Balance.
Nice.
That will go into the public homepage feed, and you'll also get a notification that people can direct message you from, and you'll get a handful of people congratulating you. Now, I'll be honest with you, Kelly, a lot of these people are semi-automated. They're using the templated response from LinkedIn. Congrats, Kelly, on your new job. Now, some of these people will probably be people that you want to follow up with because they're either in a corporation that might have use for your services or in a capacity that they could refer business to you. You'll want to reply to those people.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's actually an arm of my company, Baby Beloved, where I'm working with organizations to X, Y, and Z. Let me know if you'd ever like to learn more, or if you know of someone who might be interested in learning more. So you're using this as a sales conversation opportunity, not a sales pitch, but like, hey, this is what it's about. You're opening the door to say, let me know if you'd like to learn more. Before I leave this box, so I do want to make sure to point out there's a description field in here, Kelly, and you get up to 2,000 characters to tell people about Work Pump Balance. Now, if I were you, I would have a lot of the same language that you have on the company page from the About section. You know, this description that you have right here. Maybe even the website where they can go to learn more, or a bulleted list of the services or consulting that you offer for companies. In your case, you've got so many stats on health benefits of lactation and how it, supports employee well-being and society. And, maybe you have some stats on that in there as well, just to demonstrate your knowledge. Then before, make sure everything's filled out. Then when you click on save, it will push out the notification. And then just be ready to respond, both publicly in the timeline or through the direct messages. I would probably give it about 2 weeks and then go back into my experience section, click on the pencil icon next to the role. And if you had November of 2023, then you would change it to May of 2019 or what the original start date was. Okay. I would still keep the Notify Network turned to on. because then in May of 2024, a notification will go out to your network. Congratulate Kelly on celebrating 7 years at Work Pump Balance. Same opportunity again. People congratulating you, you messaging them back. Lather, rinse, repeat. See where I'm going with this?
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
It's great.
All right.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any thoughts for Kelly on getting into new audiences? And gee, I know you work within HR and within different HR industries and stuff like that. I'm thinking, gosh, Kelly should probably be involved with some HR organizations. Are there any that you would like to tell her about?
Sorry about that. You kind of caught me off guard there for a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yep.
Oh, great. No, I mean, and I agree. I think HR organizations, very important. And, you know, again, the local, national, of course, just putting the feelers out, even on the LinkedIn groups that are out there, I would think.
Yeah, I have put in some speaker applications because they're SHRM, like the Society of Human Resources, like there are different organizations out there for HR, and they have speakers come in. And so that is something I started just this week putting in applications for that. So I would love to pursue that as well. So
and Kelly, I'm going to give a shout out right now to Innovation Women. I think I don't know if anyone else on the call. I know Annette, Pam, Elaine. Okay, so we all just came off of Innovation Women. I think you were all on the Speaker Friends Fridays. Innovation Women was an organization created by a woman named Bobby Carlton, who saw a need in the market to provide resources for more women speakers, because she was coming across a lot of organizations that would book all male panels, aka manels. And when approaching them, they would say, we don't know of any women in finance. There's no women in finance that we know that can speak of. So she created, it's not like a speakers bureau, but it's more of a membership organization of women speakers. And you can sign up. It's a pretty low cost, I don't know, 100 and 125 a year to get into the speakers directory. And then conference and event planners can sign up for a free account to look through and find speakers. And there's also speaker resources. You can create a speaker page where you upload a video. And they do it every Friday. They do a Speaker Friends Friday call from 8:45 to 10. I'm always jumping up to get onto this call to come into it. But every one of those calls, I walk away with some new tidbit of value. You also get the chance to ask questions. And more importantly, you're surrounding yourself with really amazing women speakers. So definitely check that out. And I think for you being a lactation consultant serving women, and it's such a rare topic that you have, I could definitely see you being of value getting added into the speaker directory and learning from that group. I do have a affiliate link for Innovation Women. I'm going to ask Julia if she can drop that inside link. It's just a tiny little, I get something if you sign up, kind of a credit thing, but I can always use my affiliate links if I have them.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Right.
I appreciate it.
All right. Did anyone else want to add anything to Kelly? Linda, go ahead.
So the other thing you could look at is diversity, equity, and inclusion kinds of groups, because women in the workplace is a big issue, and ways of supporting women is a big issue as well. There are also employee, for lack of a better phrase, affinity groups, resource groups within organizations. And a number of those I think might be very useful for you to get into as well. So you go in back door, they'll bring you to the HR people and the EAP people and say, here's a resource we really want. But it gives you that speaking opportunity as well.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
All right, great.
I know
Brian,
these things are out there. It's just asking, finding the right people. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, did you have something to add to Kelly or something new?
Something to add. So with myself trying to get weight loss clients, you're on the absolute perfect track with EAP programs, but contact the insurance companies. But within the insurance companies, like my local insurance company is through Aetna, but it's called Desert Oasis Healthcare. So I go through them, then their EAP program, and then HR. And I start with, hey, does your staff have this issue? Would they like to experience, a healthier way to lower stress and stuff like that? And just trying to get in, but you have a much, I don't want to say more helpful, but a thing that is obviously needed on a regular basis. So that might be a better in. But if you go into the EAP or I'm sure it's the same, there's local healthcare groups under Aetna or under Blue, Anthem Blue Cross, and then you might have a better chance of getting in.
Yeah. That's a great idea. There's something called Inforum. I'm sure you guys, it's a women's group, but they have subsets. For
members,
like
raise your
healthcare.
hand. I know there's a couple of us inside here. Mm-hmm.
I know that they have like a subset affinity group for healthcare. So that would be a great idea. Thank you.
Awesome.
I need to stand up for male speakers. We are needing work too.
I hear you. Like we're almost all women on the call here today, but we've got Mark and Brian. We're not beating up on you guys, but yeah, I hear this too from organizations. I'll look at the speaker lineup and I'm like, there's no diversity. They're all, somebody said all male and all pale. Like there's no diversity at all. Like you couldn't, if I were a man standing, going on a panel and I look around, I realize everyone is a white male like me, I would say, have we thought about diversity? I would ask the question, like, let's get more on there. But yeah, Brian, I think the world of you, and I support male speakers as well. I get them off as a criticism. Thank you for that. All right, Pam, did you have something to add to that or something new?
Something to add and a question. On Kelly, on your page, I love the work page. It says buy baby balanced. So are you looking at this as I'm asking it for myself as well. Are you looking at an overall brand and then programs within the brand? And from your bandwidths for you, will you be able to keep up with 2 different pages? Or is the information good that you're putting out there for both parts of the business? Like, should you have? I guess I'm going to summarize.
Should one brand or 2, right?
Right, and should it be one brand and then programs you have within the brand?
Well, I have no idea. I would take your suggestion. I just did that to separate because there are 2. Like if I did have Blue Cross Blue Shield if I direct them to my LinkedIn page, it's going to look a lot like the lactation part. And they're like, why am I here? This is for moms, but maybe I'm overthinking that.
Well, I just want your bandwidth to not be so stretched that you have to feel like you have to post on multiple pages all the time.
Yeah.
And because that becomes really overwhelming, because I'm hoping your business grows and, there's going to be that middle point like I'm in right now where I can't really hire someone to do my stuff, but I got to follow up on so many different things.
So I would have just Baby Beloved and then underneath it Work Pump Balance, like they would.
Well, you could have, there's company pages and then there's showcase pages, and it's almost like a parent-child relationship. So the company page is like the overarching, and then the showcase is almost like a product or service that sits underneath that. Showcase pages can't be linked onto your profile. So that's a consideration. So I would think about where's your main audience that you're targeting, which brand supports your main audience that you're targeting on LinkedIn. And I would lead with that. Now we are getting a little bit close to time. So Pam, did you say you had another question? Okay. All right. So I want to start to wrap us up because I'm trying to keep these calls always to 1 hour on here. But as we do wrap up, I want to let everyone know that I do offer Power Hour sessions. So if you're ever looking for some additional LinkedIn or marketing coaching, happy to support you. I'm going to ask Julia if she can drop my one-to-one link inside of chat for those of you who might be interested. And also, I alluded to it in my LinkedIn post this morning, but I'm working on 2 new things that are coming up for 2024. The one that might be most relevant to this group is I'm looking at creating a membership community focused on marketing. And LinkedIn has been really my sweet spot over the past, really, a lot of my career being self-employed, but really the past 5 years, I've been going wholly on LinkedIn, but I've always brought in marketing and social media as a part of it. And I'm looking at creating a membership community that's focused more on marketing. There will be some LinkedIn included with that as well. If you're on my email list, you'll be getting details on that. I'll be looking to chat with some folks before I do the launch, which will be probably in January. And I'll be doing conversations over the next month and a half. So stay tuned for that. And then the other thing I'm looking at launching is another version of my Bootcamp with Brenda program. This time it will be focused on individuals who are working but looking for a job. So stay tuned for more details on that coming soon. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. This will be eventually converted to the podcast. Stay tuned for your email for details on that, or subscribe to Enthusiastically Self-Employed. And you are now on a podcast if you spoke today. That's the great thing. You didn't have to even an interview. You just were magically, as a part of being my guest on the show here today, you're going to be part of that podcast. With that said, I wish everyone a wonderful weekend. Reminder that this call will be the second Friday of the month. We're going to be doing this in December. I'm TBD on what happens with 2024 with my new membership program. I might be changing gears a little bit, but we will still be doing this call for free in December. With that said, have a safe and wonderful weekend. Happy Veterans Day. And thank you to all of you for your service or for your family members, if that applies to them. And I look forward to seeing all of you